Terrain. So terrain is terrain is similar to the word land, but it's a little bit different. It is more talking about the physical geography, the actual layout of the land. This is the lay of the land. So if there are hills or rivers or mountains, fields, prairies, grass, desert, sand, this is the terrain. He uses it to if you first hear that word, you think about more nature stuff like in the countryside, but he uses it to refer to the city. You can also do that to refer to the city. The city has different types of terrain. Pittsburgh is famous for having 3 rivers meet there. So in the video you saw there's the riverside. Also there is a real big hill near, kind of in the middle of Pittsburgh. There's kind of a small mountain. So you have concrete, you have different types of terrain. Number 2, outreach. This is any type of program or organization or group that is reaching out to the community, that is helping people in the community. You just told about your speech. That isn't a type of outreach program. You guys are going far away to another country, but it's still an outreach program. Usually when you hear the word outreach, they might be attached to the word community, community outreach program or just outreach program. What he is doing is definitely a type of outreach program. It is reaching out and helping people around you. Like I said, yours is still an outreach program, even though you're traveling. Usually it will be more closer to you, right, in your community. It can be medical, it can be non-medical. It can be you can do something for kids, some chess club or something like that. That is community outreach. You're helping them. Number 3, pacer. So if you watch the video, the doctor says pacer, but even when you read the words, it says pacemaker. Pacer, actually, I think because he is a doctor, he is using kind of doctor language, right? So really, you should know the term pacemaker. One word, pacemaker. Everyone calls it a pacemaker. Just he is a doctor, so he called it pacer. But almost nobody would call that a pacer. Everyone knows the term pacemaker. Now, if you look this up in the dictionary, you're going to see something about pace, whether it's for a race or whether it's for some project, setting the pace. But this is different. Do you guys know what is a pacemaker? You don't know? In your chest, it is a small... I'm not a doctor, so I'm not 100% sure. My grandmother, I was telling you, she is 90 years old. She might have a pacemaker. I'm not sure.
Inside of her heart.
Yeah.
Outside of her heart.
Is it on the inside or the outside? I'm not 100% sure. It's inside your skin. So that's why he says the skin's too tight on the pacemaker. It's inside, so if you look, you cannot see it. Maybe there is a bump. I don't know. I think it's deep inside you, either attached to the heart or next to the heart. Probably, I guess, attached to the heart. And it helps your heart beat. Maybe your heart is weak or something. So lots of old people, almost always old people, might have a pacemaker. It is actually a machine that helps your heart beat.
It reminds me of the famous film.
Which film?
The movie which starred with Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Man?
Yes.
I don't think he has a pacemaker, but he has something separate, something different, but similar. Maybe do you know pacemaker?
Not exactly, but I can guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they had it. I assume they definitely have it in Korea. Maybe it's a different name. Actually, if I had to guess, I would assume they just say pacemaker in Korean. But I don't know exactly. I'm not a doctor. Number 4, haunt. So 2 days ago was Halloween, right? So haunted house, haunted Halloween. That it is sometimes means like with a ghost. A ghost will haunt the house. You can have a haunted house. But here the word is used differently, and it's very common to see the word used like this. You can say some image or some story is quite haunting. This really haunts me. He says once you know they're there, it haunts you. He's talking about the homeless people, right? He said, oh, I go home to my house and my comfortable bed, but I think about them there and it really haunts me. So it means troubles you, disturbs you, distresses you. I watched a documentary. It's a very famous documentary. I forget the title. It's an old black and white documentary about the concentration camp in World War II, where they kept the people and starving them, and many people are dying in the small camp. So they showed many haunting images. The whole point of this documentary was to really show people what happened. I think the documentary was released maybe 1950s, recently after World War II. So that is why it's very famous, because people saw this movie and finally really saw these pictures, and it was quite haunting. It stays with you, and you might think about that later, and it bothers you. It's troublesome to you. Number 5, sense of humor. This one's kind of easy to understand. Someone either has a sense of humor or they don't. If you can appreciate a joke and you can laugh and have fun with a joke, you have a sense of humor. Or if you're very stoic and not laughing and quiet and you don't have a sense of humor. You might see people attach the word good or bad. He has a good sense of humor. That is more common than, less common to see he has a bad sense of humor. But you might see the word good sense of humor. But the easiest way to use it and most common either is just simply you have or you don't have a sense of humor. And number 6, take-home message. This one also I think is pretty easy to understand. It really just means the main message, the lesson learned, the main lesson learned. If you have a take-home message, a lot of people, if they give a speech or a presentation at the end, they might say the take-home message is, if you listen to a long speech, you might forget lots of it, right? But the one important main point take-home message is blah, blah, blah. Here he says the take-home message is that you matter as a human being. Everyone matters. Everyone is important. This is the take-home message from their program here. The take-home message. So not that difficult. Any questions about those 6 words? Okay, let's stop and